Hi, it's me again, Natalie from CPD Interactive. Today's focus is Victorian legislation. Just want to show you a few of the features of the Victorian legislation website. This is the parliamentary website and really the most official version of Victorian legislation. So if you just wanted to find an act as it looks today, you just go into Victorian law today. Probably the biggest mistake everyone makes is, I want to go and get the Evidence Act. They click on E, get an error message which no one ever reads. What it's saying is you have to decide, do you want an act or statutory rules? So we'll assume we want an act. So we want the Evidence Act. So let's go into E, scroll down, we'll find the Evidence Act 2008. That blue line is an indication that this is the official authorised version of this legislation. So it's appropriate to use in court or in any other manner. That's the current version. What's really nice about the Victorian database is back to about 1996, there's this thing here that says click here to show version history. And you can go through, and in this instance, obviously the Act only started in 2008. You can go and see all the previous versions of an Act. That's really nice. However, I just point out, using this website, you cannot go back further than 1996. But you can use OSLI to fill the gap. It's got older legislation from 1996 back to 1901, so you could manually go and have a look at the changes. So that's where you get your current legislation. If you want to get any parliamentary documents, so that's things like bills, explanatory memorandum, Hansard, which has second reading speeches, you go into the parliamentary documents. Now, under bills, that's just a current list of bills that have gone through Parliament, going through Parliament, or recently assented to, and takes you through to it. But what about if you want, and when we look at a bill, always remembering if you look at a bill, the explanatory memorandum should be attached to it, and it gives you an overview of how it went through Parliament. That's easy for current bills, but what if you want to find bills that have previously gone through Parliament? Okay, something a little older. That's where you use the archive. Under archive, you can go and get older. So if we wanted something from spring 2001, for instance, you could click on it, and that's all the bills. Under bills, you can go and get all the bills that have passed through in spring 2001. And once you get into it, you can read the bill. But most importantly, from a research perspective, is you can get the access to the explanatory memorandum. So that's another thing to remember. If you're trying to find explanatory memorandums, back to about 96, you can get the explanatory memorandum. And the reason 1996 is that's really when the internet sort of came about. Back to the home page. Another thing that's worthwhile noting is this Office of Chief Parliamentary Counsel. It has this fantastic database in it that is called, you probably can't see that, it's called the Act's Commencement Information. And where we use that is anytime you need to find if an act has come into force, when it came into force, all the specific instructions for it, you can simply click on it and it will give you this enormous PDF document that you can then scroll through and find your particular piece of legislation, and it'll give you commencement information. So if you ever need to find the dates of an act that came into force, you can simply go to this document and it will tell you that the Coroner's Act was assented to on that date and it commenced on that date. If there's specific sections, it will tell you sections 1 to 5 or whatever came into date on a particular came into force on a particular date. So really handy stuff is finding commencement details, and that's something the Victorian Parliament have been really good at. So there's a few hints for the Victorian Parliamentary website. Thanks.